So, Kaiser, last night we went out and we saw the latest Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball Super: Superhero. And it might be one of the best fucking Dragon Ball movies I've ever seen in my entire goddamn life. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that. That's what I said on Twitter, and after a night of sleeping on it, it doesn't feel like that's changed much.
I feel like it's too soon to say that it is my favorite, but there are so many things that I found so refreshing about this movie, so many things that I enjoyed, that it's hard to say that it's not in the upper echelon. If you live by a tier list kind of thing, this is S tier for me. Like, you know, it's real good, and if you are a Dragon Ball fan, I cannot recommend this enough.
I definitely think that it has some problems.
Yes.
Like, in terms of being its own movie that's not tied very directly into Dragon Ball, there's some narrative issues.
Well, yeah, if you're talking about its own standalone plot, you kind of need to know what you're going into with this. Like, this movie requires homework. If you don't know Dragon Ball, like, at the very least from the Red Ribbon Army arc, you're going to miss a lot of things here.
Remind me to comment on a specific piece of dialogue from the opening that was actually really funny.
But overall, like, while I don't think this movie ever hits the peaks that Super Broly did in terms of action, I still think that overall this is an amazing movie, and I was shocked at how well the animation style really, you know, it was initially one of those things that I was kind of like, I don't know about that style, but then as soon as I got in there, as soon as I sat down, as soon as that initial opening scene was done, I'm like, nope, I'm done, I'm in, it's great.
Yeah, with Battle of Gods, you had this great little story introducing a couple of new great characters with Whis and Beerus. With Broly, you had a decent backbone of a story that then took a backseat to some of the best action, not only in Dragon Ball, but some of the best action animation I've ever seen in anime. Like, holy crap. And then, you know, here we really do get a mixture of a lot of those really great fan service-y story elements from Battle of Gods and some legitimately fantastic action, I think.
Yeah, this movie is charming in so many ways, but it also has those moments where my jaw actually went slack at some points where I'm like, oh shit, that's God, there's like fan hype moments abound in this one.
So let's talk about the big elephant in the room. I'd like to get it out of the way immediately. I remember when originally they were talking about, like, oh yeah, Toriyama himself was like, there's this new movie coming out, but you know, the animation's gonna be new and experimental, unlike you've ever seen Dragon Ball. And then everyone who knew what that meant immediately was like, oh no, it's in 3D.
They're going to computer generate everything.
Yeah, and everyone freaked out about that, which honestly, I get it. You want?
I saw Resurrection F.
Yeah, but let's be honest, the stuff in Broly was way, way better.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely got better over time, and doing a whole movie with this style actually really worked. There were some times where, specifically in certain scenes where there were like tracking and moving shots and moving characters within it, where the walking animation looked very 3D movie maker, like they're kind of like dragging them along a set piece to a time. But those were very few and far between for me, and were not really distracting unless you're really looking for it.
Yeah, I can't really say the 3D animation took me out of the movie. For the most part, there were some scenes, unfortunately, most of the backgrounds are really gorgeous in the film. Like, actually, I think a lot of them were actually hand-painted. Yeah. And
a lot of the landscapes where they're just like showing off a space, like the Red Ribbon Army base. Holy shit, that place looked cool. Piccolo's homestead, beautiful. I want to go camping there and probably not get killed by Piccolo, hopefully.
But there is an opening sequence where we get to see our villains driving around in a car, and it actually kind of worried me a little bit. I saw the background for this like shot while they're driving, and it looks very bad. It just looked flat out not good. But
it's because the grass like down below didn't really have texture. The roads looked very flat, and like it didn't really have a whole lot to it. But it was kind of a fun tracking shot at the very least. Yeah. With a really weird filter over it, because it had that like It was the Insectoid Nanoborg filter where, you know, yeah, it's all green and shit.
But otherwise, yeah, I think if you're somebody who is worried about the 3D animation in this, if that's keeping you from potentially watching the movie, please, it's good. It looks good.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Reconsider. You get used to it very quickly.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I was worried about was actually character acting animation, and I didn't have anything to worry about. It was, by the way, this is easily the funniest Dragon Ball movie, by the way.
I laughed out loud in the theater multiple times.
Ditto. Oh my god, from the very opening scene with Hedo in the fucking prison, I died, and so did a lot of people.
It's fucking great. Like, it is very much like, you and I have spent like the last nearly 15 years working on turning Dragon Ball, which is already kind of a comedy, into more of a comedy, and this was very much up our alley. Like, no, this is great.
Look, Dragon Ball itself, the original Dragon Ball, before like the Z portion, you know, manga doesn't delineate, but whatever.
Last time on blah blah blah.
Yeah, like this. It's really interesting to watch modern Dragon Ball really try to embrace some of those old traits that, as we got later into the Cell Saga, kind of was played down by a significant amount. There was still obviously comedy. I mean, you have Mr. Satan of all things, and the Boo Saga really tried to ratchet that back up to moderate success. I
feel like the most important part of Dragon Ball's comedy is that the most sacred things in all of Dragon Ball are not sacred. Nothing is sacred in Dragon Ball, really. Everything is, yeah, it just kind of exists. You want to summon the Eternal Dragon? Say "Pwitty please."
Oh man, I'll get into Shenron later, because there's a fantastic scene with Shenron in this.
This might be peak Bulma.
Oh my god, I've gotten mixed opinions on Bulma, mixed to positive, but I got mixed opinions. But yeah, no, there's so much in this movie that made me laugh. The action is pretty spectacular.
Really good.
The only comment that I have negatively towards the action is that, so one of the things that they really did, which I'm glad that they did, was they utilized the camera a lot. Which, if you're gonna do something in 3D, yeah, you want to be able to do those sweeping shots, those
lots of tracking shots where it'll be like, fire the beam, follow the beam to its conclusion, then whoa, follow back.
Yeah,
like a whole lot of cool sweeping shit.
Amazing grappling stuff. Like in 3D, you can do a lot of really cool grappling shit, like grabbing, twisting, moving, throwing, spinning. Like, oh my god, they utilized it very well. I'm happy about that. Because, like, I'm not gonna say 3D animation is easy, but it is cheaper to do a lot of the stuff. Cheaper, easier, less labor intensive to do many of the shots that we see than if they were in 2D animation.
Yeah, because once you have, like, the assets in 3D animation, it's like, okay, now we can use that asset for a bunch of different things. You don't need to redraw a new cell if you have a different angle of a character you want.
Yeah. Spoilers. No, I'm kidding. But you have a lot of really funny little shots, or really fantastic shots, like, because yeah, you can have the asset, but there's still a lot of like morphing that you have to do.
Yeah.
A lot of modifications during action shots. Like they knew how to squash and stretch. They knew how to like warp perspective on the models to really capture that the classic look of the anime. Well,
and to give anybody context on what exactly that means, try looking up Dragon Ball Fighters, but like what you shouldn't see. Like if the camera just stays in one place, you'll see characters' arms growing out of nowhere just to make the shot look cool.
Yeah, learning how 3D animation works when you're trying to imitate classic 2D animation. I mean, hell, there's a lot of cheating in all forms of animation, including 3D, even for realistic stuff. Like, nobody knows just how much cheating there is going on behind the camera in every shot of everything you've ever watched. So in this, there's so much cool stuff happening. I'm really a big fan, and honestly, I want to return to 2D animation because 2D animation is my personal favorite type of animation. It just is. But if the next Dragon Ball movie is going to be in 3D, at least I know that I can still wholly enjoy it and that they know how to properly do it.
Yeah, and this is just such a such a fun, charming movie. We saw the dub because that's our option here in America right now.
Actually,
and it was
there is a subtitle.
Okay.
They remarkably, and
I am deadly curious to see what's different because there's a lot of quips in the dub where I'm like, that sounds like something that was added like just for.
Well, I mean, a little bit. Like they obviously didn't screw around with any of the important dialogue. A lot of the comedic stuff is in comedic scenes, which there are plenty, as we said. And so I never felt like it. Literally, never felt like we were breaking the characters like in that old Z dub. Everyone still feels in character. Everyone still feels like they're saying things that they would say, just a little bit more modern and a little less, and very, very comfortable. Everyone sounds so comfortable in their roles after so many years. Fucking,
especially Ian as Whis. He fucking killed it in every scene he was in. I think they used him like the perfect amount. Any more, and I feel like it might have gotten a little like, oh, they know they like it. But the amount that he was there and everything he did was fucking beautiful. I loved it.
I mean, but really, the real MVP in this is Sabat as Piccolo.
Oh, yeah, because this, refreshing as hell, by the way, is Piccolo's movie. He's the protag of this movie.
Yeah, he is. I know that Gohan is the big hero guy, but
kinda, yeah.
The movie centers around Piccolo. Like, the entire thing.
It's Piccolo's adventure.
Yeah, and that's remarkable. I love that. I'm all about that.
More this. Goku is in a B-plot that takes, like... It's a fun B-plot, and stay after the credits if you do see it.
Oh, yeah.
There is a scene after the credits. Not gonna spoil what happens until we get into spoilers, but stay till after the credits, because that's where the B-plot wraps.
Especially if you're a Vegeta fan. It's good. It's real good.
It's worth it. This movie is fan service. A lot of fan service, but in the best way. Also in a lot of the ways that fan service usually means. There are a lot of very choice shots in this movie.
Yeah, so when we say fan service, I feel like there are a lot of people who are looking for a really strong narrative experience who might worry that we're gonna get a bunch of fan wankery stuff or stuff that's fluffy or stuff that just kind of doesn't like add up to much. And don't worry.
But no, what we're talking about is like there are just like pictures of characters in the backgrounds. There's like little subtle things that they don't actually talk about that they'll like show on screen. It's like, yeah, no. And if you're in the know, you're in the know. This is going to be one of those like 10, 25 things you might have missed in Dragon Ball Super. Here's the red circle, arrow pointing at Piccolo's penis. Just, these are the things you might have missed. There's going to be a billion of those.
Because
a billion.
They regularly call back to things in the universe. Like, the biggest problem that you can run into sometimes with fan service is that it starts to make the universe feel a little small. Like, oh, we gotta talk about this thing that we already know. We gotta call back to that thing. We gotta drop more lore. And it's like, no. They do it just in the right ways, at the right times, with the right characters, in the right moments, where it's like, yeah, no, this is the slice of life stuff that I was hoping for, where they'd call back to something that makes sense in this instance, where we get to see how these characters with different lives operate differently from other characters. Like Piccolo's life, living in solitude, out in his house, with his chair that looks like King Piccolo's chair. Just all of that stuff, like, it works so well. Also, oh my god, Pan is...
She's fucking adorable. I loved her. My broveries exploded.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I need...
From the first scene with her is training with Piccolo, and it is so good.
And you can see all of like the little Goku in her, and it's so adorable. And she's just like such a charming little muffin that you want to protect and save all throughout the movie. It's just,
Yeah, and you can see the development that Piccolo's gone through, where the way that he's training Pan is very, very different from how he trained Gohan. And that's so cool. That's so neat just to see that development with them.
He has a much gentler hand, obviously, but he'll still smack her. Just like, get back up.
Well, yeah, she gets knocked into the rocks, but then he's like, hey, you okay? And she gets up and he's like, yeah, she's fine. Like, And
Yeah.
it's a great scene where, like, you can tell that he's really picked up some of this parenting stuff, because he does the thing where he's confident that she's okay. Because with kids, when they hurt themselves, there's always a mixture of like, hey, are you all right? You doing okay?
Okay, pick yourself back up. Okay, good.
Yeah, but you don't want to baby them, because if you seem concerned, they seem concerned. But instilling confidence in them when they're okay, when they're actually fine, helps them with their development. And just watching Piccolo do that with Pan, my heart just exploded.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because yeah, my mom used to work at an elementary school, and she said, you know, like, so many kids will cry on the playground if like one of them falls down, and then like one of the mothers will run over like, oh, are you okay? Are you okay? They'll start crying, but you know, she'll just say like, you know, come on, pick yourself back up. Yeah, I'm good. And then they'll just keep going. Like, that's just how kids are.
Kids are malleable. They will. You can, like, you know, throw them. You can throw them around. They'll get
throw
back
them
up.
Straight at a pillar. Throw them straight at a pillar.
Exactly, 100%. But yeah, I really loved it. It was so, and just also like it just makes me even more frustrated about GT though. I won't lie.
Oh, there are many reasons to be frustrated about GT. But no, this is adorable. Like, everything with Pan is adorable, and I love that it's Gohan's turn to be absentee dad. He's not nearly as absentee as Goku is, but one of the big things early on is the fact that, you know, he's busy working on a research paper about insects like a fucking dork, and Piccolo's like, why don't you go pick up your kid? It's like, but I'm busy right now. Could you maybe do it though? Could maybe just a little help Piccolo? Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the phone. Oh my god.
Piccolo's ringtone. Just
I swear to God, as soon as I can get my hands on that, I'm gonna replace that ringtone with Cat Loves Food though.
Absolutely. I mean, this whole movie, I mean, it's an Easter egg hunt for fans. It's got some great action. Like the climax is really strong, although I think it's definitely nostalgia baiting a lot during the climax.
A little bit.
And unsuccessfully to some degrees, but, you know, still enough to be like, it does enough different to what it's trying to bait you from to feel special and cool.
Yeah.
So I was able to kind of like forgive that.
It definitely, so one of the things that I will say works both in its favor and against it. The pacing in this movie is insane. Like, things move very quickly. Little questions are actually asked and more just immediately followed through. Like,
yeah. Which I do think is a problem for some of Piccolo's development in this movie.
Yeah,
because he does just kind of get a Deus Ex Machina out of nowhere at a certain point.
Yeah, which honestly though, it makes sense.
It does. Like, it does. The story makes sense as to why he has the Deus Ex Machina, but I feel like if they paced it a little bit better, they could have done something with it. You know,
it definitely feels like there are a lot of things in the movie where, you know, that if this were a story that were being told in a serialized format where you could have like episode to episode, chapter to chapter, there would have been more time focused on the development of a lot of things that we get. You know, maybe more, especially with Gohan, because there's some stuff that happens later with Gohan that's like, oh, hey, you could have written actually a really nuanced story about like his responsibility as not only a father, but also a fighter. Because like there's a big conversation going around. And here's one thing that kind of bothers me about the film. The film definitely feels like it's approaching Gohan from a part of the audience that wants him to be a fighter. Which I don't think there's anything wrong with how they want to take Gohan. If he wants to be a fighter, that's cool. If he wants to be a father, that's cool. I think that if he wanted to dedicate himself and his life to being a dad more than anything, I believe that should be his choice. But the movie kind of does approach this a little bit, especially via Piccolo, as no, you need to keep up with your training. You need to be a fighter.
Yeah, you need to be ready.
Yeah, and that's a little frustrating. Not that there isn't an argument to be made about that, but it's glossed over so quickly because I think the film sort of banks on the audience wanting Gohan to be, as the movie does say very early on, the strongest guy on Earth, which has always been hinted at.
Piccolo drops very frequently, like, you have the potential to be the strongest creature in the universe, you know, like that.
Yeah.
And maybe he does. I don't really know, like, fuck power scaling. Who even knows how it works anymore? But
yeah.
I feel like this is about as far as we can go without getting into spoilers.
I'm wondering if there's anything else. Oh, the villains. The villains are a mixture of fun, funny, and near the end, not amazing.
I liked the Gammas. I liked the short joke gag with Magenta. That played out very well. They did it just enough times to make it work.
Realizing what Magenta's name. I just got Magenta.
Oh yeah, the picture's on the desk, dude.
Yeah, we'll go into that in the spoilers. But also, really neat fact: we get to see a picture and a name for Android 21. Very interesting. Although everyone already knows it. Anyone who cares has already seen that.
But this actively makes her canon, which is cool.
Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah.
But
yeah, other than that, I think we're going to get into spoilers from here. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, can't recommend this enough. Go see it, support it in theaters. I think it's very important that, you know, if there is something you love out there, support it.
Yeah, and I can't recommend the movie enough. If you're, like you said, if you're a Dragon Ball fan, this is gonna fill your heart up to the fucking brim.
Spoilers!
Spoilers.
Okay. So, how did, like, I'm not sure where to break in on these spoilers entirely.
Let's I want to start from the very beginning real quick.
Okay.
So apparently Red got down with Violet?
You know, things happen, man. Like, I guess, because
I just
good for him.
I mean,
like,
yeah, right. Swinging away out of your league. Holy crap. Also, when did
either that or there's some real workplace malfeasance going on here. But
that does make me wonder when that happened. Like, she must have, his son must have been born before Goku ever showed up.
Well, if we want to talk about family genealogy, let's talk about Dr. Hero.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that Android 16 at some point would have had to have had a kid.
Yeah,
because that's his kid.
Also, oh god, what's his name? What's Android 16? Like the model for Android 16 specifically.
I don't remember.
But Android 16's real name.
He got busy, left an orphan out there somewhere.
Gevo. It's Gevo because his mother and father's name was Dr. Ghetto and Android 21, otherwise known as Vomi.
Vomi, gotcha.
Yeah.
So he got busy at some point in time, died during the war, and just left poor little orphan baby boy out there somewhere. I guess his mom would have still been around.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Jiro obviously didn't stay in touch.
Yeah, right.
But this kid, he got real good at cybernetics. Still kind of bothers me since we made that delineation between android and cyborg that there's... I mean, I know at this point, the fandom, they're androids. They're just androids. But he was really good at cybernetic technology, and he, I guess, created, like... He got sent to jail for enslaving some people to work as like a store for him.
Well, specifically corpses. He reanimated corpses.
Oh, he reanimated corpses. True.
Yeah, reanimated corpses to work for him. And
they all looked like that one dude from Hunter x Hunter that.
Well, they look like Frankensteins. They look like
yeah, but he looked like that one dude from the Hunter x Hunter Hunter exam arc.
Yeah. Which, and I really, honestly, I dug it a lot. I think Hedo is fantastic. He's a
fun character.
I love his introduction at the prison. Just
hucks a fucking grenade in after him as everybody's throwing shit at him.
Yeah, everyone's like throwing crap and he's like, fuck it, here's a grenade, bye.
And he's just walking away from the prison. I just kind of imagine somebody pulling up, like, okay, back in there, dude. What the fuck was that?
Yeah. No, they they very obviously wanted to get rid of him. They even say, like, yeah, they don't want you back. Which, like, he even mentions...
Krillin is the one that says that in his cop outfit.
I love that. Like, when near the end, Hedo's like, I should turn myself into the police. And, like, Krillin's like, no, don't do it. Trust me, we don't want you.
They don't want you back anyway.
Yeah.
Also, just a quick note to the end when the all of the blast is cleared and the dust is settled and Bulma's flying back in to check on everybody. She sees Krillin get pulled out of the dust. Is like, I guess everybody lived. I love that Krillin was their canary in that scenario. Krillin lived. Everybody must have.
Yeah,
everybody had to survive that if Krillin did.
It's such a simple piece of dialogue. It isn't even like if Krillin survived, everyone else must have. No, it's just even as simple as
I guess everybody's okay. And I don't even think that's necessarily the implication, but it's what I'm inferring from it.
We both inferred the same thing, like immediately. Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure. Maybe that was intentional. But yeah, there's the villains in this, actually they all work. They're all a little shallow.
I liked the Gammas, actually. I felt like what personality they were able to give them really worked. And I fucking loved the conspiracy angle.
Very good.
It's something that I had been playing around with in my head. Like one of the Dragon shorts that was kind of like in the back of my head planning was that the government was trying to cover up that Cell was actually really a problem, because if people knew that there were mega powered creatures on the planet, they'd be freaking the fuck out all the time.
Yeah.
So the cover up would be like, look, we need you, Mr. Satan, to keep saying that you were the one that beat him and that he was faking all this shit so that nobody else knows. Because if they knew, they'd fucking flip, like real Men in Black shit. And this just played directly into my heart. I'm like, I love that.
Yeah, I remember we actually wrote a pre-script for that.
Yeah, we have a spec script for that.
Yeah.
But might still get around to it. So spoilers for Dragon shorts if we get around to those.
But oh my god, I enjoyed the Gammas. I enjoyed Magenta. And I can't remember what the other dude's name was. They didn't say his name very often.
Gamma, Magenta, which is funny. I think it was Carmine.
Carmine. Yeah, Carmine.
I liked, he had one gag, and that's that he really, he presented the information for the Red Ribbon Army, and he had, his hair, I guess, was his second gag.
Yeah, the fact that he had, Carmine Productions, the Carmine
produced by Carmine.
His name is
directed by Carmine.
Yeah, his name is everywhere, and it's really funny. He just wants to be a content creator. It's so...
Yeah, he's the mouthpiece for the Red Ribbon Army. He's clearly trying to be, the spokesperson. I
like how Hedo is like, yeah, I knew you guys were spying on me. You had a car going around with a bubble top, and it pans over to Carmine, and you realize the bubble top is specifically there for his hair.
And yeah, both Magenta and him don't really get a whole lot. The scenes that they're in, they're good. And of course, Magenta, played by fucking Mario.
Yeah, Charles Martinet
he did a great job.
No,
fucking amazing.
He is pitch perfect in the film. A little bit of stunt casting, we know that. But if you're gonna cast,
well cast,
incredibly well cast. There's nothing to reference that it's Mario. They don't do anything to make you remind you. By the way, we got Charles Martinet. He's just playing the role to perfection. It's so good.
Yeah. And while he's basically just manipulating Hedo throughout the entire point. Like I said, he's the one that introduces this conspiracy theory that, King Piccolo's still out there. We've seen him. We got pictures of him, and he hangs around with Mr. Satan's daughter. And then, your grandfather, Dr. Gero, he created these androids, and he was trying to take out this whole syndicate, and then they destroyed his beautiful creation, Cell. His own androids turned on him.
By the way, before I forget this, the film starts with a recap of Dragon Ball up till this point.
It looks great.
It is animated.
Beautiful reanimated.
It is animated to perfection in 2D. I was sitting there I was blown away. I'd already seen it on YouTube, but seeing it on the big screen though was a whole... It was like watching it again for the first time. Also, all of the flashback stuff is animated in 2D, and it was so cool watching the scene with Trunks and Frieza play out in what was supposed to be real time. And Trunks kills Frieza, immediately murders him. Watching it play out, it actually should have.
He shows him a video on his cell phone of Frieza, the shot, the fight with Frieza. I like to imagine there was just a hiker out there. It was what the, oh shit, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it's so good. I loved it. I loved all of the flashback sequences. I'm really hoping the character designer for this movie comes back for the show that apparently is happening. There's substantial rumors that we're getting Dragon Ball Tooper finally. And yes, I'll keep calling it Tooper. I don't care.
I wonder if it's going to follow the manga, because at this point, I don't even know like how they'd manage to do that if they're going after Super or after Superhero.
So apparently, I'm going to suspect that the show is going to continue where the manga left off. I think the movies are just going to be sort of their own thing, though.
I'm okay with that. I am 100% okay. Like, that's actually what I wanted. I wanted Dragon Ball just to continue in movies, personally.
I'm a huge fan of, because in that way you lose a lot of the fat and you get a lot of these great sequences animated to perfection. And honestly, as I said before, I think I'd be okay if the show if the movies continued to be 3D animated. I think I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I like I said, I liked this style. It worked very well. And goddamn, just I loved it throughout this that Piccolo is the one that stumbles on this conspiracy by Red Ribbon. And his whole espionage bit is fucking fantastic. Like, I think it was Gamma 2 that shows up to fight him. And you get a little quippy back and forth, a fun little fight scene. And he's... One bit of missed opportunity, I feel, is they couldn't quite work. I wonder if in the original concept they wanted to work in Saiyaman versus these guys, because I feel like there's that whole thing there, but they never quite got to it, because he's doing all the hero poses and stuff.
Yeah, it's, I will say, really weird that we had a movie called Dragon Ball Super Superhero. We have two characters who present as superheroes, and we don't get even a mention of the Great Saiyaman.
But it makes sense why.
Yeah, it does, but it also feels like, so obvious that it's a weird they didn't.
Kinda. But yeah, so Piccolo ends up following this guy back to the Red Ribbon HQ. It does one of the best bits, like the recurring bit of him being disguised and hiding in the lineup. And, like, I love the shot of him just like running back in. I'm back. Are you okay? Yeah, it's just some stomach issues. Really? You look a little green.
Yeah,
visor goes down.
Again, this is a very funny movie.
It's fucking hysterical.
And let's be honest, some of the humor literally just comes from the fact that they keep doing things with the characters that they've never done before. They're having conversations, interacting in ways they just didn't do before. Watching Piccolo act like this, be more human than he's ever been, interacting with strangers, talking, chatting. It's surreal, but very, very funny. And they kept it in character. He still feels like Piccolo throughout this entire thing. It's just
Elephant in the Room. How did you feel about the Cell Max reveal? I was lucky. I did not get spoiled on that. I managed to avoid that whole thing.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
I felt it in my guts, but I didn't want to assume.
Yeah. Luckily, like, it wasn't too big of a spoiler that there was going to be a Cell in this, because very early on they drop Cell Max as a thing that they have in their back pocket. 15
to 20 minutes into the movie, they drop the Cell Max name. Piccolo's just like, oh fuck.
Yeah. And it's the worst part of the film.
It
Not
kind
bad,
of is.
But the worst.
They go real Bio Broly with him. Like, he's just a monster.
Yeah,
he's just a big kaiju monster, because you don't have enough time in this movie to really do justice to another Cell.
It is sort of interesting, right? That we have what is essentially... Saying Bio Broly is absolutely 100% accurate, but it's not nearly as bad. Not anywhere close to as bad.
You know what? More like Hirudegarn.
Well, okay, so it's the conception behind Bio Broly combined with, like, how they fight and the destructive capacity of Hirudegarn.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, he's just a big kaiju that shoots lasers. Like, he's Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, like, and that's okay. He works. He works. It's not the worst thing in Dragon Ball by any means. It's not even bad, but he's just not only is it Cell, it's second form cell.
Yeah. Which honestly I think works better as a kaiju design.
I mean,
if they're going to do that, I think that design works better for what they were doing. And it meshes better with Piccolo's new form. I think as it can, like, I mean, he just gets wide and orange.
Okay, so I'm gonna have the hot take here.
Go for it.
I love the movie. I love it throughout. At no point did I dislike the movie or even feel like it was losing me. But there are some things that the movie does that I genuinely think needed a second pass.
Yeah.
And one of those things was both the design of Orange Piccolo and whatever the fuck Gohan is at the end.
Oh my god, Gohan's new design.
Gohan Blanco.
He looks fucking like he just has like massive fucking rabbit's hair out the back of his head.
In a lot of the establishing shots, it doesn't look bad. In that last shot, literally the last shot we see.
I actually scoffed. I'm like,
yeah. So
it just looks so fucking ridiculous.
Here's one problem, unfortunately, this movie has by being 3D. The hair sometimes just does not look very good.
Which is why Piccolo is the main character, and
maybe that's not terribly off point. Like there are, you have all these characters with the craziest hair out of the picture for most of the movie.
Yeah,
like
Goku and Vegeta are off fighting like each other on Whis' planet, trying to show Broly, which is a really cool touch, how to maintain your composure while going in an all-out fight.
That being said, I really do love Gohan's design in this movie. Not a lot. I've heard a lot of people say they don't like his new hair, like the hairstyle he specifically has in this movie, like the black, the normal black hair. I like it. It looks messy and a little weird, but it's also very unique. It's not like Goku, and it's not like his other hair styles, and it doesn't make him. Okay.
Very intentionally, I think it's supposed to be reminiscent of when he came out of the time chamber. Like, if he wasn't Super Saiyan at that point, I imagine that's kind of the length his hair would have been at.
Yeah, and it doesn't make him look like Yamcha. So honestly, it's a little weird and a little messy, but I like it. I actually dug on it, which is controversial, by the way. Like, there are some people out there who hate it.
It fits super well, because every time we see him in the movie when he's not in action mode, which is basically the entire first half of the movie, he's fucking just secluded in his office, surrounded by papers. He's probably worn that same shirt every day for a week. I think Videl even mentions that he hasn't really been out of his office in 5 days, which I guess saying he can do that.
I really love that scene where Piccolo, like, they show up at his place. Yeah, he's all in dressed up in disguise with one of the other soldiers,
trying to deliver the ransom note.
And the soldier like starts ringing his doorbell, and Piccolo's like, no, he's not gonna answer the door.
He's not gonna answer that. Come to the window.
Like, and the soldier's
how do you know this?
How do you know this? Yeah. Also, that interaction with Gohan and that soldier is pitch perfect, beginning to end.
Yeah, once Gohan realizes there are stakes. Oh man,
that
once you see that
is so good. Oh my god.
He starts creating a crater in his own backyard, and the guy's trying to crawl away. The crater gets bigger. Shit.
Yeah, that scene is so sick.
Gohan just once he sees that Pan has been kidnapped and that this guy has him, he's like, "You motherfucker!
Yeah.
Take me to her." And he's just like sitting in the backseat of the plane, and then he like looks out the window. There she is, blows up the plane and flies out of it.
Yeah,
just like, damn.
Like, did that guy die? That guy might have died.
He probably died. And then his hero landing's like just a fuck yeah moment.
That hero landing doesn't do the 3-point landing. Does the just Superman
lands on his feet, creates a goddamn crater under him. He's just standing there like,
yeah, so
dad mode, full dad mode. Absolutely
fantastic. Also, like, it's so small, but when he lands in front of that soldier and he crushes the gun, so one of the things in modern Dragon Ball I feel like they kind of struggle with is presenting just how strong they are now. And that is a little bit important to me because the action is not the most important part in Dragon Ball to me anymore. I know it is for some people, but for me, it's sort of secondary to just seeing these characters develop and interact now. But if they're going to be this strong, I want some of the things they do to kind of like really remind you. And just watching him land on the gun and it looking like a balloon the way that it crumples beneath him is like, oh, okay, wow. I don't know. And, there's small parts there's small parts like that all throughout the movie.
And Piccolo's whole plan, like once he realizes that shit's going down, Goku and Vegeta can't be reached because Whis' staff is covered by an ice cream bucket,
which is perfect.
It's great way to get them out of the movie. And they have their whole thing off screen. Beerus has some amazing character moments with Chilai.
All right, so we haven't talked almost at all about the stuff on Beerus' planet, so let's get into that real quick.
Okay.
I want to
we can cover the B plot real quick.
I do want to lead with a negative, though, because I want to get this out of the way, because I don't want to have to be reminded of it later. I'd rather talk about all the stuff that I love. Because I love everything on Beerus' planet, except for one thing that really bothers me. And they keep doing this in modern Dragon Ball.
Go for it. So,
Vegeta is having that moment where he's doing his meditation. And Goku is like, hey, you're not just going to get stronger sitting there. And then Vegeta gives the explanation of,
well, Jiren was doing it. Like, yeah, well, clearly he can go from 0 to 100 like that.
Well, I like his explanation. Vegeta's explanation is really good. He's like, Jiren was actually not that much stronger than you and me. Like, in terms of overall raw strength, he was actually generally in the same ballpark as us.
But he was much more efficient.
Yeah, he was very efficient with how he attacked. He waited to the last moment to move and attack. And he even says, like, there was no windup. He was able to just give full power in a punch immediately.
Yeah, from 0 to 100 in nothing.
And Goku doesn't seem to understand or didn't seem to pick up on that.
Despite Ultra Instinct being the whole part of that arc.
Despite the years of training that he's had with meditation, with learning better ki control, with learning that it's not just about, sparring and fighting and working out. He knows this. He knows this. And it is one of those moments where whoever wrote this movie obviously does not love Goku. Maybe doesn't hate him, but I think that this movie definitely feels like it was written and directed by somebody who's like, you know what? Goku's had too much time in the spotlight. We need to give other characters some time to shine, which, yes, we do. But
you just shined a whole light on it. It feels like it was written by somebody like me who feels the way about these characters that I do.
But they want to make other characters shine brighter by making Goku dumber. And I don't like that. Like, I even tried to, like, rationalize it at first, but, some people were talking about it online, and you know what? I have to agree. It's okay that Vegeta is the one who's, like, trying to do this, but Goku not understanding it and agreeing with it almost immediately, the fact that he didn't pick up on it where Vegeta did, Vegeta is a fighting genius. He is. He's an elite, but he's had less experience and less, like, proper training than Goku has. Goku's supposed to be...
Well, like Goku's a savant. He is somebody where a lot of these things are built in instinctually and naturally. So I do feel like that kind of works for him, where he is a bit more dense in that sense, where it's like, okay, but I'll pick that up as I'm learning, Like I'll learn how to do that as I'm practicing. Like he's a learn by doing, not by.
But it just kind of feels like we're at a place where he should know this specifically. Like,
I guess
it's not so much a matter of something that's kind of new. Like when Whis in Resurrection F talked about, like, no, you need to be able to move. Your body needs to be able to move without your brain. That was new. That was something like, yeah, I can see how Goku might not fully understand that or come across that. This is like a whole nother level. But here, nah, I'm not sure. You know what? I'm pretty sure I don't like it.
I'm okay with it because it was like kind of B plot, and it really does kind of feel like it's where Goku was at the moment. Because at that time he was training with Broly, and Broly's about to snap. He's like, dude, calm down, back up. You were about to snap again.
I'm a little bit sad. I'm a little bit sad about that because, like, Broly is here. He is a character in the movie. And he gets so little time to be a character on screen, which makes me a little sad because
but what what they did with him was fun.
Yeah.
As he's watching Goku and Vegeta fight, he's just like, yeah, yeah, I like that. And then at the end, where the fight's finally over, and I'll get to that in just a moment, he's just sitting there just like weeping alongside Lemo. Yeah, where it's just like two men are just like, what a manly contest.
Chilai is like, God, these guys are idiots, right? And then looks over at Broly and Lemo, who are absolutely...
such a beautiful moment. And gotta give it, and again, this is another case of, you know, somebody who really likes Vegeta and Piccolo and all that. Vegeta gets the win at the end, and he's... The one problem I have with that is like, I finally beat you, Kakarot. I'm like, no. You did not finally beat him. That is 3-0, Vegeta. 3-0 in one-on-one.
And the funny thing is, like, okay, so Goku was never actually won against Vegeta.
He has never won a battle against Vegeta. Not once.
You could say their first fight, but that was literally everybody helping him. He actually lost the fight in there. Like,
yeah, he lost. He was crippled.
There's no argument that he lost the fight against Vegeta the first time. Their second fight never actually ended. Nobody.
Yeah, it was a cheap shot ending. It was a dirty finish, but it was still Vegeta's win. Vegeta was on his feet.
Yeah, I wouldn't count that as a finish. I'd say the fight finished with them without either of them winning, and then Vegeta knocked him out.
I'm fine with that. But she's the only one standing.
But he won that first fight, undeniably. It's just really been ever since Goku got stronger than him, he's never won a fight. He's never had the chance to win a fight. So in that regard, if you wanted to say it like that, yeah, no, it makes sense. He hasn't had a chance ever since they were both competitive rivals.
Yeah, since Boo, they haven't had that chance really.
Well, I mean, yes, since Frieza. Since they were on good amicable terms, let's say, ever since they became rivals. So
yeah, they had a definitive end to their fight. They're both like just really like the last ounces of their strength punching each other, and Goku goes down. He's like, yes!
Yeah.
And the entire theater cheered for that too.
Oh my God. Everyone clapped, and that, you know, I'm fine with that. Like,
I'm happy with that, you know. And honestly, him winning doesn't do anything against Goku. Goku has lost a lot of fights. That's kind of part of his character. He's okay with losing as long as it means he can get better.
Yeah, and that's good. Like, I'm really glad. Like, Goku is not sour about it in the least. And also, like, it should be noted, if anybody's watching this and hasn't seen the movie and just doesn't care about spoilers, which oh man, I pray you do still go see the movie and enjoy it. They don't use any ki blasts. They're like, in fact, like the entire thing is all you can do is just physical fighting. And in that regard,
they don't even power up. I mean, they cut away, so we don't really know if either of them went Super Saiyan at some point or something.
I think like they don't use Super Saiyan at all.
I mean, we never see it. Like they cut away a vast majority of that fight while we deal with what's going on Earth.
Yeah, if literally the entire fight was just them base form and Vegeta wins, I think that's actually really neat. I think that's really neat.
That is a neat little wrinkle, because if Goku was able to tap into like Ultra Instinct, I mean, the fight's kind of over, right?
Right.
Vegeta can't touch it. It's impossible, because that's what Ultra Instinct does.
But
yeah, enough on that. Let's go back to Earth though, unless you have anything more you want to talk about.
We're still on Beerus's planet, and there's one thing we have not touched on.
We have not touched on Chilai, which
oh my God, I laughed so loud. So
Beerus, like she shows up after robbing. Was the implication that she was robbing Beerus?
Oh yeah, she was robbing Beerus.
She walks in with like a bag of loot. She's like, okay, they didn't have like a whole lot of good stuff, but I mean, I found something. She's like, not right now. Points at Beerus. She sets it down. Is like, oh, I'm sorry. Does this little coy face as he's like drinking some soup. Drops the ladle.
Yep.
Hi.
It's like, oh, I like this one. And it's like,
I like this one. Oh, Lord Beerus has a type. I don't know how this didn't come up before.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, only a couple characters get it. And, like, even Goku sort of picks up on it. And, yeah, Chilai apparently has caught the, let's say, the favor of Beerus, God of Destruction, which I think is really funny. That is genuinely funny.
She's one of the cutest character designs that Dragon Ball's had in a very long time. And they love showing off her assets.
Let's be honest, if Beerus was going to find if Beerus was going to have a taste in women in the Dragon Ball universe, pretty high tier with Chilai. High tier with Chilai.
Pretty high tier, yeah. Speaking of high tier, Bulma. Bulma in this movie, fantastic. This is some of my favorite Bulma. Like, she's petty, but she's like... She has this, like, great sass about where it's like, no, you kind of understand where she's coming from. Like, one of the big reveals is that she's kept Capsule Corp, a lot of the employees employed, just to go and secure Dragon Balls so that nobody else can use them.
Yep.
And she's been using them for her little cosmetic fixes of herself. Like, I just want to get rid of a few wrinkles, make my eyelashes a little bit longer. And so Piccolo goes to her, like, after realizing that Cell Max is out there and that the Red Ribbon Army is a big deal. It's like, okay, I need somebody that can boost my energy, you know, like Guru did for everybody on Namek. Dende, can you do that? No, but the dragon might be able to. Aha!
By the way, after he powers the dragon up,
by pouring some water on it. It's a really inconsequential scene that I don't know needed to happen.
Yeah, I don't know why they needed to have that scene where Dende, voiced by Justin Cook, which I love. Justin, I love you. You're a fantastic actor, but unfortunately, Dende now sounds like he smokes five packs
he smoked a
day.
He smoked a lot of packs of cigarettes. There's some grain to the voice, but I don't think that was too much of an issue, honestly.
No. It's just funny. It was just funny. That's all.
It's funny to hear after so many years, but yeah. So yeah, Piccolo goes to Bulma. He's like, "Hey, you got the Dragon Balls?" Like, "Yeah, I just need to use them." "Okay, you got 3 wishes." "I need you to unlock my hidden power." "Done. I've given it to you, plus a little more. That'll be important later. Don't worry about it." And then Bulma's like, "Okay, so I can use the other 2? Can you firm up my butt? I want to be perky like college age girl." It's just like, and Piccolo's like, is this what you use it for? This is...
Yeah, and I really do love the fact that Bulma keeps, like, snapping back, and I'm like, don't judge me! Yeah, it's really good. It's very funny, actually.
And just the fact that the dragon says, "There, your buns are perky."
I will say, I love the fact that when the dragon is summoned, he starts to go through a spiel and then realizes it's Piccolo.
It's Piccolo. I was like, oh, it's you, Piccolo.
Yeah, which I like the fact. Okay, first of all, familiarity with the dragon and these characters. I'm a fan of it. I'm like, we even started to make the joke.
We write that. What the hell do you assholes want now?
Yeah, and it's not. He's not snarky about it, but he is like kind of personable. And the fact that it's Piccolo also makes a lot of sense too. Like, if you're going to choose a character, like one of the characters that he's going to be kind of personable
like, you know, the one who is Kami. And Piccolo actually references a lot, like, you know, when I was Kami, I blah blah blah.
I love the fact that everyone, like, fucking Cutting calls him Kami, and he's like, I'm not Kami. And then Gamma calls him Piccolo, and King Piccolo, and he's like, I'm not King Piccolo. God damn it.
That's not who I am.
Yeah.
It was very reminiscent of us, like, having Dende call him Nail.
Yeah. It's really funny, and it's the kind of stuff that I really like. The stuff that acknowledges the past and the history of these characters. Like, just these little moments. I really like that a lot. And the movie's just full of them.
So Piccolo's whole plan, though, is a little odd. Like, he wants to get Gohan to get pissed off to fight these things. Yeah. So he actively contributes in the plan to kidnap Pan.
Well, he also he is fully comfortable with in his preconception that Gohan will take care of it.
Yeah, like and the cutest part is that he gets Pan to play along with it, because he shows up at her preschool, and she's in her adorable little outfit. Big dude, big Jack dude, he shows up, was like, I'm here to pick up Mr. Satan's granddaughter. He's looking for. I don't know you. Bam! Pam just knocks him the fuck out.
Straight up stranger dangers him, and it's fantastic. Also, amazing moment. She then turns to Piccolo, who again, still in disguise, and says, "Oh, hey Piccolo."
Hi, Piccolo.
And he's like, "Oh my god."
Oh, she recognized me. Yeah, I can sense you.
Yeah, that. Oh my god.
Really cute. And especially because he brings up that Gohan couldn't sense that it's him. Like when he shows up like at Gohan's house in the same disguise later.
Pan being Goku 2.0 is perfect to me. Like, literally what I want out of Pan.
It really makes me wonder if they're actually going to try to Boruto this at some point. Like, try to actually pass a torch.
I it's sort of interesting because I've basically accepted, like, no, Gohan can do whatever he wants. Gohan can do what he wants.
It doesn't matter. Gohan does not have to be the guy. If it's Pan, like, hell yeah.
Yeah. By the way, you don't have to say it the way I say it. I know I'm annoying.
I'll say it I
already know I've annoyed everybody in the audience by me saying Pan, which I say it because it's based off of the Japanese word for bread, Pan. That's why I specifically say it like that, not Pan.
Speaking of why things are called things, why is this called Dragon Ball Superhero instead of just Dragon Ball Superhero?
Okay, so I believe this has been confirmed. I'm pretty sure that this is the reason. Okay, if I'm
partially
wrong,
substantiated rumor.
Look this up. Look it up for yourself. But apparently, the reason it's called Dragon Ball Superhero, and not just Dragon Ball Super Hero, which I think would have been just fine, actually.
Considering Hero or Hero is the name
which,
of the...
by the way, very cute little thing with Hero. Yeah. Like, in Japanese, Hero, Hero. It's not too far off.
But yeah.
Toriyama forgot that the show is called Dragon Ball Super. And he wanted the movie to be called Superhero, and
that is so on brand.
And
so on brand.
I think somebody in the marketing department thought, you know what? No, do it. This is funny. Having it be called Dragon Ball Superhero is redundant, but almost in a comedic manner.
It's very on brand. You know what? I'm okay with that. At first, I'm like, this is a Smorio situation.
Yeah.
But no, this is great. I'm okay with that.
So
yeah, Piccolo basically gets Pan to go along with the plan. Is like, hey, no, I need you to act afraid. And when they're like filming the hospital, Daddy, come save me from the mean man. Immediately drops it.
I love Pan's acting in this. Oh my god! Again, just so fucking cute. She nails it. She's playing the little damsel in distress, knowing that she could beat up 90% of the dudes in the room. It's so good.
Yeah, the only people that would have been able to stop her are the Gammas, and they wouldn't, which is, I think, like a great wrinkle. Like, once they start talking, it's like, come on, like, bad guys won't, like, when Gohan's having trouble fighting Gamma 1, and Piccolo's like, Pan, I need you to scream like you're in pain. Oh, okay. And then she just does it, and it's Piccolo just holding her gently. Gamma 2 looks back, wait! Good guys don't hurt kids! And Piccolo's like, oh shit, these guys might not actually be bad.
Yeah.
So there's that nice little wrinkle where, like, they're good guys that have been fed bad information.
Which, there's so many great scenes with that. Gamma 1 is the least developed of the two gammas, which makes me sad. I wanted to see more with Gamma 1.
But he is the one that's sticking around, so they can.
Yeah.
2 was given the most development because he isn't.
Yeah, except for Gamma 2.
Real fucking cool way to go out, though. Like, fucking sick shot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Gamma's whole sacrifice scene is gorgeous. Like, there's a lot of really gorgeous shots in the movie. Like, actual...
Him coming down from the upper atmosphere, basically turning his entire body into a comet to try to destroy Cell Max.
Oh,
which you knew wasn't going to work because...
Well, yeah, obviously got it. Gohan's the main character, gotta get that W.
Yeah, gotta give the W to a Saiyan here. But during that whole situation, Piccolo finally unleashes his new power, Orange Piccolo, which basically makes him really wide and orange. And I'll say this, you said you don't like the design. I can agree at his normal height. When he's giant, I think it looks good.
When he's giant, it kind of works a little bit more. You're right.
Yeah.
When he's got that kaiju thing going on, it works. I also really like the fact that, like, Krillin's like, grow big. What? Grow big, like you did against Goku.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting I can do that. I'm like, that's an us line, what?
Well, I mean, it makes sort of sense, though. Growing big was a gimmick that immediately proved to be more of a negative than a positive.
He even says, it doesn't make me stronger, it just makes me bigger.
Yeah, but against Cell Max, it's actually a form that works well in terms for this fight because
he's like 20 feet tall,
and it makes it easier for him to deal with him physically and, you know, lock him down the way that he needs to, where he can monopolize more of his more of Cell Max's aggression. He basically aggroes him by growing his size, and it's good.
Which ends up leading to this is the nostalgia baity moment, but it's also like really cool with the twist they give it, where Piccolo's getting his shit stomped in by Cell Max. Everybody's trying to just hold him back so that Gohan can power up and deliver the finishing blow. By the way, this must have been traumatic as shit for Android 18 who showed up. Like seeing second form Cell of all things.
The look on her face.
Yeah, they made a new one.
Yeah, they made a second Cell? Like
that must have been fuck.
Oh, actually, you know what? I just realized it's actually a mixture of his second and third form because he has the wings.
He does have the wings, and his tail isn't like a piercer. It's more like a ball.
Oh yeah, that is creepy as hell. By the way, like
yeah, it fires like energy beams, and it's like a wrecking ball. It doesn't get used a whole lot in combat, but it's neat. It's a neat little twist on the design.
I was actually able to find a picture of Cell Max. Okay, cool.
Yeah, initially when both the Gammas were flying in to fight him, I'm like, they're immediately going to get absorbed or some shit, and then he's going to become more powerful or something. Luckily, they didn't go that direction, but...
I did actually expect that as well. I was surprised when they didn't go that direction. I'm okay with that, obviously, but it did seem like the obvious way to go, right?
Yeah. Which, you know what? Credit to where credit is due in Dragon Ball. They do often subvert expectations a lot of the times, like when it comes to some of those things. Some things are unavoidable. Like, the ultimate climax is, Gohan watching Piccolo slowly get his shit stomped to death by Cell Max as he's trying to hold him down for the finishing blow. And then Gohan goes Blanco, or
yeah, Gohan, no, it's Gohan Blanco.
Once Gohan goes Gohan Blanco, and then he starts to charge up his final attack. After like a really cool moment of Cell Max trying to punch him, is like, aha, now I'm way overpowered. Fuck you.
I understood what they were trying to do with Gohan Blanco's design, by the way. I'm gonna keep
I do too.
That,
it's obvious what they were trying to do. They're being reminiscent of Super Saiyan 2 and how his hair just got like a bit taller, a bit spikier. He got the cowlick in front of his face, and he got the light. That's what it was.
They desperately wanted Super Saiyan 2 back, and that's cool. But it's also I was gonna say earlier.
It's a bit of a failed nostalgia bait for me.
Yeah, I'm hoping that if that form comes back, they redesign the hair just a little bit, just to make it look not so awkward.
What did not fail as a nostalgia bait for me was when Gohan started charging up the Makon Kosapo. He started doing this. I'm like,
yeah,
no way.
I won't lie. That's pretty cool.
And then he fires it. It goes through Cell's head, which is, they established that's his weak point because they don't want to obliterate the whole fucking thing.
By the way, okay, whatever. You know what the current name, the popular name for that final form is? Either Gohan Beast or Final Gohan. I'm actually, I'm gonna go with Final Gohan because I think that sounds less silly than Gohan Beast.
That's okay. Like, who knows if it's truly Final Gohan? Anyway.
Yeah. The other one is Ultimate Gohan. So we already have fidelity.
Maximum Overhan.
Yeah.
But yeah, he fires the special beam cannon. It goes through Cell's head. It kills him. He explodes. And Piccolo's like, what was that attack used? I guess it was kind of a special beam cannon. I never taught you that. I guess I just learned by watching. And then, he was imitating. It was like, oh, that's cute. That's a cute moment.
My favorite part isn't that Piccolo is like, it needs work. No, he's like, it was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, that was perfect to me because that shows that, like, again, Piccolo has just had all of this development. Him not trying to be the tsundere, like, oh, it could be better. Just complimenting his student, knowing that that positive reinforcement is what he needs. I love it.
And it's clearly not exactly the same technique. He fires it. It doesn't have that little spiral beam around it. It's more like just a pure beam of white light, it looked like to me.
I think you might have just missed it, because
maybe I did. There was a lot of After Effects going on in that shot.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's kind of hard to see. Although, also, Piccolo uses the Monkan Kosapo earlier in the movie, and it's gorgeous. Like, oh my god, the beam attacks in this all look phenomenal. Oh.
Yeah, as a climax, while Gohan's transformation didn't quite work for me, and Piccolo's transformation was a bit of a Deus Ex Machina because Shenron's just like, hey, by the way, I gave you a little something extra in there. And that's just kind of how they explain it. I'm like, okay. You could have just left it at, I untapped your hidden potential. I untapped what I could, but there's still something left in there. I feel like would have been better. You know, like, I couldn't quite reach some of that. And that's the part that he reaches. Maybe that would have been a bit better for me. I don't know. It felt a little too Saved by the Dragon.
Oh no, it is. I think actually, Gohan Beast is the name. Okay, well, I'm just gonna call
Beast
it.
mode!
Yeah, I'm calling it Beast mode. I'm calling it Beast mode. Beast mode. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That was so good. Like honestly, well,
I loved everything about the movie.
Cellmax,
like, nostalgia bait aside, I fucking loved it.
Cellmax may not be great, but that finale is phenomenal. And what else is there to say at this point? I feel fucking Piccolo referring to the teacher Janet, like the fact that he knows
calling
her
her by like he's picked her, and that she knows him, even though like when she was a kid, he probably would have been taught as like somebody to be feared, or I don't know.
No, he's like, hey, sorry about this, Janet, and she's like, it's fine, I get it.
Another small touch that I liked, that in the conspiracy theory montage that we got, it was the Namekians that are taking over Earth because their reference for evil aliens is King Piccolo.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my god, there's so much good in this movie. I really pray, like, if...
I hope it does well box office wise. Like, I hope it does well just, like, as a movie.
So apparently it's it's not doing great.
Didn't it just open yesterday?
Japan.
Well, fuck Japan. America. America has the money. America is where the movie money is.
You're not entirely wrong. These movies do make a lot overseas, which I think the movie's going to do mostly well overseas. I think it will just generally make money. But yeah, it actually did. It's not been doing the best in Japan. Not terribly. It's still successful. It's making money, but it's not.
Japan's the reason we've been stuck with Goku for so long.
But it's not making Broly money, and I think that's gonna make them feel a little bit hesitant to make another movie like this, say that isn't entirely focused around Goku.
So I guess that's a cue for anybody out there that if you want more of stuff like this, more actual creative Dragon Ball stuff that isn't just lol Goku saves the day, go see the movie. I mean, go make it worth their while.
Honestly, though, if the movies continue to be this quality, if we get another Broly, if we get another superhero, as long as they're at this quality, I'll love them. I'll enjoy them. It doesn't really matter who the character's focus is, as long as it's good, right? It's just it's just really nice that we finally got a movie where Goku and Vegeta are literally just out of the picture for most of it, and the little bit they get is cute and fun, and again, we got character development for Beerus. That is, I'm sorry, I love the Beerus stuff. I love it.
One more little touch that I liked. It's a little nod. When Goten and Trunks show up, they're teenage. They're like teenagers now. And Goten's like, yeah, I guess, you know, Saiyans, or Gohan says like, yeah, Saiyans, we stay short for a real long while. Then we hit a crazy growth spurt. It's like, you know, I'm fine with that. That makes sense.
If that's the silly way that you want to explain this, considering that
it happens to every single Saiyan.
And by the end of Super, I'm pretty sure that Gohan and Trunks were the same age as Gohan was in Cell, and yet we're still like half his height. Fine, whatever. It is nice though. It is very nice to finally have real team designs for both Goten and Trunks.
And they tease Gotenks a bit. We get like chubby Gotenks.
Yeah,
they tease real Gotenks at the end, but they don't show them. I'm fine with that. You know what? Adding Gotenks in probably would have been a little too much. Just too many chefs.
I just don't like the fat fusion design joke anymore. Not that it wasn't funny. Would
you have preferred Old Feeble?
No, because then he wouldn't have had any purpose. Like, at least in the movie, he is effective. He does help.
They do a lot of they do the fat joke where it's like, oh, he's heavy and he hit him.
Yeah, like although I will say, the fact that they ping ponged him in the cell.
Yeah, they threw him at him.
Also, watching Krillin jump out of the plane to go help is like, no, I gotta go help. I gotta go do this. Like,
I gotta go save my wife.
Yeah, Krillin being a coward is not something that I've ever been a fan of in the modern Dragon Ball stuff, which they tend not to do very often. They flirted a little bit with it as a character development thing, which is okay. All right, cool. If your entire thing is like he's afraid to like take on these new big things, okay, they got over that. So when he's like there protecting Bulma, it's like, okay, I guess we're gonna do the whole thing where he knows he's outmatched, so he's gonna stick behind. But no, he gets out there, he helps in a really cool scene. The Kienzan looks gorgeous, gets to save his woman. It's all good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and that 18's even like, thanks, sweetie.
Yeah. Oh, I'm really a big fan of this 18 design. 18's like post Z designs have all been like real good. I like them a lot.
Yeah, she's now middle age 18.
Well, she's fit mom. She's fit mom 18, and it's good. It works real well.
Yeah, Dragon Ball superhero in theaters now. Definitely go see it if you're a Dragon Ball fan. If you're still paying attention to this channel, I'm assuming you are. So, yeah, that's a strong recommendation.
I might see it again subtitled. I tend not to like to watch a lot of my anime in theaters because I'm gonna sound like a filthy sub hater over here, but when I'm watching something subbed, I prefer it to be on a smaller screen.
No, that makes sense. Your eyes don't have to travel over the real estate as much.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult. It's been difficult for me in the past to watch something subbed on the big screen specifically. Like, I don't know. It's tough for me to kind of focus on what's happening and not focus on the words. So that's why I just generally watch a lot of my movies dubbed in theaters. But I might see this one subbed. I'm very curious to see what changed, how it changed. Also,
I'm very curious.
I also have a personal love for a lot of the original Japanese cast. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to watch the subbed or dubbed, you can now watch both. Like, that's gonna help a lot too, I think. The fact that the other movies were not released subbed when they came out, the fact that we now get the subtitle version in theaters, I think is going to make a lot of people very happy and probably sell more tickets to a lot of the sub-only fans who were like, I'll wait.
Yeah.
So,
check it out.
Yeah, highly recommend it. Huh?
Bye.